Hello, and thank you for joining us for CloudRadial's first webinar. I'm Seth Wilson, Marketing Director here at CloudRadial, and today we have Jeff Ferris, our CEO and Director of Business Development, Ricky Cicchini, here to present our May product updates, including client dashboards, 365 and PSA synchronization improvements, new CSAT functionality, and we're going to review our new partner community. After that, we'll open it up to questions from you guys. Be sure to use the question button on the right-hand side to submit those. So you know, we have another webinar coming up on the 28th about QBR best practices and how to use CloudRadial to deliver those. You can register for that at cloudradial.com/events. Now I'm going to hand it over to Jeff to show you our new dashboards feature.
Hey, good morning. I appreciate you guys joining us today for the May update. We've got a lot of exciting things we've been working on the product to build out a full strategy. So as we look at the product, we can break it down into 4 big areas: ticketing, service catalog, reporting, and planning. And each one of those together feeds into the other to create a consistent and comprehensive user experience for your clients. Put all these together, you have really a definitive client portal. And as we've worked to make this better and bring in more functionality, what we're finding is that we're placing more and more tools inside the standard toolbox that MSPs use to deliver client reporting and ticketing and planning functionality. And as we bring all this together, it really creates a powerful presentation for your clients that they can access anytime. Today, we're going to focus on dashboards, syncing, and CSAT functionality, with the goal here to really bring in more complete reporting for clients. What you're going to find in dashboards is that we really have taken dashboards and the concept of client dashboards and made them scalable across a wide variety of clients so that you can easily set up dashboards for either a group of clients, an individual client, and make this easy to deliver and easy to maintain. One of the typical challenges with dashboards is dialing in all the right data and custom configuring a dashboard presentation for clients. And yet with CloudRadial, what we really have is the ability with our data collection engine, the fact that we're linked to your PSA, to your endpoints, to Office 365 and other tools, we can bring all that data together in one place, not only for use within the portal, but also for use inside these dashboards. And the dashboards let this data come alive for your clients. What typically is presented in the past through CloudRadial in tabular form is now brought to life in dashboards with easy red, green, or orange type understanding. So the more information that you have and can deliver easily and succinctly to your clients, the easier it is to help them understand what you're doing for them, on a daily basis, and then pull that information into planning. Ultimately, we're going to automate the first 3 levels of this hierarchy: the ticketing, the service catalog, the reporting. We're going to make that easily scalable so this information is available to your clients anytime they want. At CloudRadial, we really don't believe in things such as quarterly business reviews. We believe in daily business reviews. And so if we can deliver information to clients on a daily basis, now they can be informed anytime they want. They can make decisions they want from a business perspective. And now when you sit down with them in the planning phase, all of that information is together in one spot. And so what we're going to do with the dashboards is pull that data in. And I think it's probably a good way to, it's good for Ricky to give a quick overview of dashboards and show you exactly the functionality that we're talking about.
Yeah, so hey everybody, I know a lot of you guys are brand new to the product, just checking it out. Some of you probably have already spoken to me. I'm usually the guy who walks people through it, so this is nothing too scary to me. If it's the first time you're kind of diving into CloudRadial, I know it's a lot to take a look at right now. We have the overview, we're on the home page, there's a lot of different stuff. Like Jeff said, really all of CloudRadial feeds into each other, so understand that when I'm jumping into this, we already assume that there's some data populating in here, right? Some comes from the agent and all that, but given that, dashboards are going to be found under our left-hand side of the feature sets here, right? We do a lot of different things. Down under account here, there is an option, in fact, for dashboards. What's interesting about CloudRadial is, like Jeff was saying, most of the stuff, except for this last panel here, is client-facing, meaning that the clients really do have access to get into their dashboards at any time. It really turns the QBR into a DBR because they can see this whenever they want. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. So we're in here, and right off the bat, we get a lot of red, which is sucks. But if we look at the top, we have a bunch of different tabs. We can have a bunch of different dashboards show up on a per client basis, or even distributed out to everybody if you want kind of a consistent dashboard experience with their data pulled in at runtime. This first dashboard we're looking at, you can see up here, is compliance. You can change the little logo too, so it makes kind of sense across the board. And we have a lot of widgets, which I'll also show you here in a moment, to kind of develop your own strategy of what you want to show in the dashboard. I mean, there's not really one size fits all. We're trying to make it both modular, but also scalable and customizable. So it's kind of a really nice mix of everything. In this compliance dashboard that we're looking at a lot of stuff that's coming mostly from the data gathering agent, right? So stuff like, is their hard disks encrypted, or is passwords enabled on their computers or screensavers? But again, we can track many things, even if, like one of the things that CloudRadial can do is act as a training portal, right? We have an integration with Bigger Brains, so they can supply a lot of training courses. Another dashboard widget that you can see here is actually tracking completion on these courses. So at the top, we've got, again, lots of different types. Even on the second one that I've got, like a COVID dashboard we throw up here. Not all of the data has to come from CloudRadial, which is another brilliant thing. We also give you plenty of opportunities to iframe stuff in. So in this one right here, we're pulling in stuff directly from like a Power BI, but I've seen lots of customers pulling stuff from like Grafana. They have some stuff coming in from BrightGauge. It's kind of built however you like it. So again, I could go through all of these and kind of take you through them, but generally speaking, the idea is that you can really customize them the way you like. One of the things we'll talk about as well during this meeting is, of course, going to be the CSAT, the customer satisfaction stuff. CloudRadial has that built in, so this can pull in data and actually do the same thing that you're probably looking for with a lot of other tools directly in here. So you can see with our feedback tool, same idea really as everything else, right? You get the summary for the past 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, last year. And then as we dive deeper into how these widgets work, right, you'll notice as I mouse over them, they're nice. They pop up, they show you some percentages. However, it doesn't give you all the details necessarily right in here, right? You don't know who left that positive review. You don't know where this ticket history comes from. Well, again, the whole point of CloudRadial is that all that data is already in the ecosystem. In these feature sets on the left here, it's in there somewhere. So to find out where all this stuff comes from, all these widgets have a little information icon on the top left. You click it, and it takes you right to where you need to go. In this case, again, we'll talk about this later in this call, but there is an entire feedback section dedicated just to feedback, and we can have this even integrate with stuff that's in people that are not in CloudRadial. But as we go through, right, so whether it's infrastructure reporting, a lot of different stuff, again, most of the stuff comes from agents, or even Office 365 dashboards, we can do that as well. Now this demo account I have sometimes doesn't have all the stuff, so you'll notice like my voice usage, I'm not gonna load in. But if we go to add a new dashboard, I'll show you it's pretty easy even to create this for the individual client, right, as you make your own. We're gonna go ahead and hit add dashboard at the top right. We're gonna be able to call the dashboard whatever we want, right? Let's go ahead and call this one a test dashboard. Throw a description on there. In this case, let's just do test. Even change the display order. So if you want it to go in a specific slot, you're really careful about where that goes, you can do that. In this case, let's just throw in like a 15. Change the icons, right? We can do whatever we like there. Let's do a little angry face. Throw on there. Okay. All right, so now I've got my dashboard created. It is blank. I got to add widgets, and even that is drop dead simple. Now that we're in the dashboard, I'm going to go over to the right-hand side. We're going to skip save as. We'll skip settings as well. We're going to go straight to edit. If you hover over it, it'll show you as well. I mean, add widgets. And when you look at the way that we've organized the widgets, they're pretty intuitive. We've broken them by category for different things that they could show. So whether it's course completions in CloudRadial, exceptions to policies, which again have a lot to do with how the agent brings in data and parses it out to make sense for the clients, to kind of shed that, the complexity that an RMM report comes in and gives them just the core things they need to see from a business perspective. But there's other things as well, right? So we've got like the CSAT widgets. We've got additional infrastructure ones that show things like the memory or the overall models in the environment. And as I click these, you'll see them populate on the dashboard. So let's just throw in like models, for example. Bam, right there, right? There we go. And as I add more and more, you can see that, for example, even under here, the HTML one, this would be how you can iframe things. If I drop this one in here, it's going to be blank, waiting for me to put in the code. Office 365 one, even by security or service for ticket history. And I'll throw it back to Jeff for a quick second. Dashboards only came out from CloudRadial, again, this is the May update, for a few weeks, and I think we're even planning on doing more widgets as more data becomes available. This is just the first revision of our dashboard tool. But if I close out of it, you'll see that it snaps to, it goes right to where it needs to go. And I can also do, again, more and more things. As I keep adding stuff, I can drag these around, I can move them over wherever I like, I can make them bigger, smaller, all that kind of good stuff. So let's throw in some more stuff as well, why not? Rating summaries, let's throw in OneDrive usage and the ticket history year to date. All right, looking good, looking weird. I mean, I don't know what this dashboard's trying to tell us, but it works. You know, and when you go through this dashboard, again, the strategy behind it, more so than just showing you the different widgets we have, is really to give that visibility on whatever you really need to. Obviously, again, like I mentioned, the HTML one is there to pull in whatever you like. So when I go into each one of these dashboards, I showed you that if I want to find the source of that data, try to find out where CloudRadial is telling me that all these different computers exist in this environment, I click on the information, and it takes me in the left-hand side of the feature set exactly to where it's finding that. So there's never you know, it's like, I don't know where that came from. The dashboard just says it. You know exactly where it's coming from. Again, each one of these as well is customizable. So if you see at the top right of each one of these widgets, they have a couple of options in these 3 dot symbols. So when I click on the first option, for example, for settings, it's going to allow me to rename that widget anything I want. So that way, if you've got something proprietary, if you're trying to market it as something kind of interesting and you don't want to call it models, right? You're just trying to say like standardization or whatever it may be, you can totally call it whatever you like to fit your needs. The other thing that you can do as well is view the info. So it's always nice to see, in case you name it something weird, you forget what you're pulling, it'll tell you exactly what it's looking for. It'll tell you even when it was last updated, just so you know you're having the freshest, most relevant information. Again, this next one I'm not going to talk too deeply about because it goes into kind of like the QBR mindset. I'm sure we'll cover this probably in the next webinar, but whenever you add things to the planner, it gives people a tangible way to discuss things. And this is a really nice visual way to go, hey, you've got something here with the endpoint models. Maybe I want to talk about standardization. You've got kind of a mess in your environment. Let's put that as a talking point. So whenever you have your QBR, you have your sit down meeting, you can quickly throw an item that you see on the planner or on the dashboard to the planner, right? So if I click that, it goes, hey, let's talk about this then, change it up, you know, throw more information, and the client can see super easily, and they can do this on their own time as well, what you have, you know, what you're suggesting and why you're suggesting it. And overall, with CloudRadial, we always talk about this as evidence-based selling, right? There's not really a no, or there's at least not many no's, and it's picking up the money you're leaving on the table just by showing them stuff that now they have access to 24/7. So it's really, really easy to make informed VCIO level decisions rather than just trying to sling your services through reports, right? It's live data. Again, more on that.
Let me just bring up too, because everything in CloudRadial really does feed to the planner. And I think that's a critical point. So as you look at the reporting, we're not just reporting the data for clients for them to just digest. We're reporting the data for a purpose. And that purpose is to get that data into some actionable state, right? So again, if we see that we've got an issue with Teams compliance or we have an issue with endpoints, we need to be able to take action on that. And you can trigger that through review of a client's account, or a client can actually trigger some of this themselves and add items to the dashboard to talk to you about. And so I think this is one of the things that what we're trying to do, we talk about engagement. This isn't just simply a reporting tool, this is an engagement tool. And I think this dashboard, because it feeds the planner, helps deliver that vision of an active client relationship, as opposed to I send them the email report and then I never heard anything back.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction, because all too often the QBR goes from something that in theory should be collaborative to something where you just kind of explain to them exactly what's going on. And sometimes that's a given. Sometimes your client doesn't want to hear anything about what they think, they just want you to do it, and that's fine. But as you get more mature information, you know, companies that you work with, and maybe you have a co-managed IT deal, there's got to be some kind of back and forth collaboration, and the planner really facilitates that discussion. So when you give them the power to see their data and you give them the power to ask questions or whatever, it really, you know, we always say it really increases your stickiness, because as of right now, not many other, so I mean, I can't really think of anyone that does it like us, all inclusive like this, but not many others give you this ability to have it all in one ecosystem. So that's kind of what that PowerPoint, if I may swap back for a second, talks about. I mean, when we look back here, right, whether it's the ticketing, which is a given, right, ticketing portal, sure, it gets them in the door, but that's not the point of CloudRadial. It takes them to the service catalog so they can order stuff. Doing this reporting thing, which again is all we're talking about today, giving them, again, that visibility and ultimately transforming it down to that planner. So that discussion is fueled by pure evidence, really easy to understand, really nice and visual and intuitive. So that's kind of the whole goal of all this. So as I show you this, I mean, I know I'm showing you buttons and widgets and all this, but think about the higher strategy and why this is kind of significant for your clients.
Ricky, you may want to just go ahead and add one to the planner and then go to the planner view to see how that looks there.
Absolutely. So let's throw in this endpoint models one, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do planner, right? And it's gonna ask me to, at the top, it basically says it's not generating a ticket. Again, this is almost like something you want to discuss with the client. So I can choose a category in which this relates to. There's some preset ones. You can always customize this. Most of the stuff you see in here is customizable. We're able to pick things, right? So if I'm trying to make a point about this, let's say this is an efficiency problem. Everyone has like disparate computers, really, really weird, not really effective, right? Title's going to be called whatever the title of the widget's called, right? We can just say too many different models. We don't need to go on, so on and so forth. You'll see what happens with all this, but my description is really important. So I'm just going to hit submit, right? I just want to add this to the planner to talk about. A little pop-up shows up on the bottom right, planner item created, right? So as we go through CloudRadial in the same account dropdown that we just did dashboards from, you'll see that there's the planner option. When we hit that, you're going to see the planner board here. And I know it's like, oh, colors, numbers. It's a drag and drop board with a lot of these different cards. And ultimately, when you look at it, it's really easy to understand, right? We've got the recommended column, we've got some quarters. That card we just added, is ultimately going to end up under the recommended area. So everything you add from, around CloudRadial goes in here. Here's our endpoint models, too many different models. It's got a little bit of that brief description. And as I drag it over to discuss, maybe I will talk about that during Q2, we can start to add some budgeting information. We can start to add some project management information and really help the client visualize not just raw data, but what we're going to do about that data, what the status of it is, what the resolution is. And if I click on any one of these cards, in this case, I'll click on the one I just added, it'll give me details as to what I want to talk about. So in this case, it'll show you, it's like, hey, your boy Ricky added that to the planner. Why? And this is where I can go in, I can add more descriptions, I can add what I think is a remediation option. And if I just want to go back to it and view more information, it'll take me back to where this is finding it. So again, it's not about whipping out pieces of paper or going through multiple tabs and reports. It's all in one place. So I hit more information. It takes me back to the area where it's pulling that information, in this case, the endpoint overview area. And I can easily toggle back and forth when I go this, because this, here's what I recommend. What do you say? And again, more on how to run the perfect QBR in a few weeks, but this is going to be critical to really helping that good conversation, especially because it's collaborative. The client has the ability to add their own cards as well, in addition to you. So it turns that from an explanation into a conversation, which is really where you want it to be. Let's move this back. But yeah, I mean, dashboards is kind of crazy scalable as well, right? So you can see that what we've done in this demo tenant that we're in right now is we've built out all of these example dashboards, and that's all well and good. And you may be thinking, as you think about this logistically, what do you do with this information, right? Obviously, it's going to be great for, in this case, we're in the digital efforts account right here. But if I want this to go out to 5, 10, 50, 100, 200, whatever number of clients, how do you scale that? If any of you, one of you are familiar with our content distribution system, that's going to be easy peasy. But for those of you not, no worries. What CloudRadial does is actually kind of brilliant in its simplicity, right? Everything here in these menus that isn't orange is basically local to just the account we're in right now. Under this partner dropdown, which is functionally the control panel for everything, we can drop that down. I've got a clients list here, so I can actually click on it and see all of the, my companies that I have. As a digital efforts, this is our MSP, our demo MSP. You can see that we've got a dental clinic, got another company, Asurative, demo client, all that. Right? These guys need dashboards as well. And the way that we scale things is that we've got a content area right here. And content is basically the way you can take an individual thing and push it to everybody. So when I click it, and again, pardon the overload, I'll train you on this if you need to. We go through it, you can see that one of the sections, if we ignore everything else here, is dashboard. So basically, you can build your ideal dashboards from back here. It's the same dashboards I just showed you guys. And you can tell CloudRadial to say, send this to Azure, send this to AllSmile, send this to this person. So everyone has that same data and they get it run at runtime. So that's super efficient. It allows you both to create stuff that's standard across the board and do one-offs here and there, which is really great because that means that you have kind of like the supreme customizability across everything. I think it's really notable. Let's see, did I miss anything, Jeff? I think that's
no, that looks good.
Cool. I'll throw it back to you for the next discussion on, I think we're talking sync now, synchronization.
Thinking.
So I think that's one of the things that synchronization is actually one of those things I think is not given a lot of thought. And after talking to a lot of partners and seeing kind of the challenges they face with old contacts in their PSA, and just knowing how manually laborious everything is to keep everything in sync, what we set out to do with CloudRadial synchronization is basically get everybody on the same page. Because again, what we're doing is focusing on this from the client side. So as we sync from 365 into CloudRadial and we sync from your PSA into CloudRadial, what we're building is a consolidated list of users. Now we can also then take that data back from everything and then feed that back into the PSA. So Office 365 can update your PSA from 365 with username, address, all the information they would have in 365. We can keep you current in your PSA. Now there are other solutions to this, but one of the things that again is unique from the CloudRadial perspective is everything we're doing, we're also showing back to your clients. So again, as you have your 365 list, as you have your PSA list, a lot of times it comes the question like, who are we supporting? Who are we supposed to support? How do we know when somebody leaves the company? If we're doing user-based pricing or even considering user-based pricing, sometimes these challenges are so daunting that you're just stick with an existing method of billing like endpoint billing, because it's just too hard to manage the user synchronization back and forth. So what we're doing is keeping everybody on the same page. So if you go in to see users, if you go in to see inside of the dashboard from the client level, they can see exactly who you're seeing in your PSA and in the Office 365 tenant. We also, as we bring this stuff back, we can actually then start feeding the PSA back with more interesting data. And part of the synchronization effort is to update your PSA with things like is this contact in my PSA also in Office 365? Especially if I'm trying to clean, a year's, or decades old worth of contacts in ConnectWise, just knowing that simple piece of information helps me understand which contacts I need to purge from ConnectWise or Autotask or something else. We also can then handle the support pin. So again, a support pin can be collected in CloudRadial and pushed out to the PSA, so you can keep track or know that when you're on the phone with somebody, they are who they say they are. So we're going to bring a lot of information back to the PSA. Synchronization sometimes is a pain to set up, but actually what we're doing with the synchronization too is we're helping you build a clean email list. And that's one of the features that we're not talking about today, but is our marketing list. But as we get a clean list between your PSA, Office 365, and CloudRadial, we now have also built a cleanup process. So now when people come into the company, they're automatically added to the PSA, and they can be added to an appropriate MailChimp list, or brought into a download list that you can load into other email providers. So the goal is that with CloudRadial, it's not we're using synchronization just to keep things in order, but again, we're using synchronization to drive more understanding at the client level, and hopefully more automation and scalability at the partner level. Ricky, you might want to show them the synchronization logs, because I think we've had a lot of questions with synchronization about what is actually going on under the hood. And so this release deals with that through the sync logs under the client details.
Yeah, so like I was mentioning before, the control panel that you guys would have with CloudRadial is always under partner. So again, no need to worry, this is not visible to clients, this is visible for the MSP. So when I hit partner, I'm gonna go back to that same area I talked about a minute ago, which is the overall loaded in clients, right? So what Jeff's talking about is as I click this and I want to understand better how the sync is going between the two, I'm going to click on, for example, digital efforts, which is we're both patient zero and it's a client loaded up in here. So I'm going to click on us. You're going to get some details on, some agent stuff, usage. But as you see in the overview area right here, you do have the PSA sync and the Office 365 sync, and specifically there's a handy dandy log. So I'm going to go ahead and click the view log for the PSA sync. So you can see all this good stuff. So you can see, highlighted, easy for you to read, so you don't have to go combing through what went right, what went wrong, what's not happening, right? And you can see stuff like deduplication, like, for example, it found a duplicate PSA, it found, that it's when it was updating, and it tells you exactly who was being updated. So as things move, right, as people get added, removed, all that kind of stuff, it's all logged in here for you to see. pretty handy.
Yeah, one of the things in synchronization that was a challenge was Office 365, you typically have alternate email addresses. And in the PSA, as we found through experience, a lot of times users might be listed 2 or 3 different times with different alternate email addresses.
Right.
And this will help resolve those kinds of situations. So again, the logging and some of the synchronization logic that's built into that is to try to prevent that duplication based on those alternate email addresses in 365.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then I showed you, while you were talking about it, I had this up, but we actually have a big list of things that we sync with and how it all works. And, back when I joined CloudRadial, not that long ago, about 6 months ago, we were, definitely Autotask Connect wise, the big players, we definitely played with them the most. But now, as we're starting to unlock these synchronization things, you can see that we're starting to support Kaseya, Synchro, different types of PSAs kind of better and better as we start to kind of unlock it and grow the product. So it's kind of exciting as to what the future holds as far as even future sync options, but it's looking pretty good right now. This article found on our knowledge base, of course, support.cloudradial.com. If you want to look at it, it's called Syncing Between Users. So interesting stuff. All right, what's next on that agenda? I believe now we're talking about the CSAT. Let's talk about that. Let's take a look at the.
So CSAT's interesting in the sense that typically CSAT and the way it's been handled has been used a lot to track agent performance. And so there's been a lot in the industry previously to CloudRadial that was focused on making sure that the agents were rewarded for good reviews, gathering good reviews, and that's all good. The problem is from a client perspective, there's actually a lot more useful information there sometimes for clients than sometimes there is for the partner. And so what we want to do with CSAT is make that more transparent to the clients. So as you're working with larger clients, sometimes the people you deal with, the owners, maybe the points of contact, the administrators, may or may not have a good handle of what's going on among the staff. And if they've had a bad experience, they assume that everybody in the company is having a bad experience. Or if they had a good experience, then maybe they'll assume the opposite. So with CSAT and making that transparent, what we've tried to do is make sure that everybody sees what's going on in real time with the performance of your agents, of your technical staff in regards to handling tickets. And so we build this into both the ticketing layer, and you may want to touch on that, Ricky, just to show them that CSAT piece. But basically, we can also do that through email templates on the close piece. What we're going to do is take that information, feed that back to the clients, and then feed that back to you as a partner so you can get more insight to it. So again, we're taking one more thing that you have to print before you go to the QBR. So Ricky, if you want to give them a quick review on that, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So yeah, so like Jeff was mentioning, remember that breakdown I showed you earlier, this bad boy right here, right? We really start with ticketing, and you can use CloudRadial ultimately however you want to, but it really powers that reporting aspect to it. So if I go back to it, one of the first things that we typically set up with clients is the ticketing portion, right? Report a problem, they click it, they have available tickets, they click on that, right? They submit it straight from here. You can triage, discussion for a different day. But ultimately what the point is that when it syncs back and forth with the PSA, and they can view ticket updates directly from CloudRadial. So I can see right now all the open, closed tickets and all that, right? So as a user experience, I come in here, I click on one of these tickets, I'm having a back and forth conversation with the technician, and I have the CSAT boom right in front of me. So I can get that answer up, I can provide ticket status updates. So what Jeff is talking about is once they kind of start doing this and you want to start logging this data and you want to turn it back into something that's understandable from them, I can do that in a few different ways. First of all, if we remember what I just showed you with the dashboards under that account area, so we're going to go back to account, and dashboards is going to be nice and visible in front of their face with the feedback area, right? So we're taking that data, we're spitting it right back in their faces in a nice way, where we're showing them exactly what the overall status of everything is. But more specifically, if they just want to drill down into the feedback under their area, right? Remember, CloudRadial, this is all fair game to the client, partner, that's all you. So when they click on their feedback area, they're able to see the feedback reports from everybody, right? So they can see it's like, oh, you know what? They're having pretty good reports across the board. There's some charts built into this as well. So if they're trying to get a look at this, they go, oh, let's take a look at it. And again, this is really kind of the same stuff that we're powering the dashboards, just localized to right here. But what Jeff is saying is that as the MSP, start building this, you start pushing this out, you start getting that valuable data, you can process this yourself to kind of better your business. So we're local here. We're going to go down to the partner drop down, which is your area. And you have the same thing. You have a feedback area as well. So when you start doing this, you start getting it, you can see what company the feedback came in for. If someone requested a follow-up, you can do all that kind of stuff. And as he was saying, it's like you can start viewing the company scores across all the clients, right? So how many positives, how many neutrals. So you can start, bettering the way you provide service, start improving it, start giving some love to some of the lower clients, start fixing some issues. Same thing with the agent scores. All that data is available right from here across everybody. So you can see that I'm pretty good. I got all positives. How's that, guys? But even as we take this as a whole, this is another thing that, again, we can chart this out. We can do the same thing. Ultimately, we can understand how we're doing as a company for feedback. And what Jeff was mentioning is, like, aside from just getting the raw data pulled in, you can do some neat things too. So it works obviously natively in CloudRadial. If they start submitting tickets and all that, easy peasy, it's right built in there. But you can also customize this to go outbound. So as far as email signatures, if people still emailing in, but you still want to log it in here, we can do that too. From this area, from partner feedback, which is, again, your control panel, at the top right, you'll see that there's a settings option, and I can do that, and I can customize even the preview of how it looks. I can get that HTML, I can put it in my emails, and I can get that kind of customized the way I like as well. Going a step further, if I hit edit on this, I'm going to be able to see a lot of different things. So for example, if I want to post the feedback to the ticket, or if I want to do a feedback ticket on the PSA, or if I want to do alerts on that stuff, if I want to put it to a webhook, if I want to prompt them to leave a review for Facebook or for Google. I mean, I was a creative director at a marketing agency prior to this, and it's kind of crazy how many times you overlook the power of a positive review, and you don't want to keep it built into that localized. Like, it's great that your clients know that you're great, but if we're switching from internal management, which obviously CloudRadial is very much account management, to even lead generation, this is important stuff. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Somebody leaves you a positive review, make it easy for them to give you something, just, hey, these guys are great, 5 stars on Google, boost your SEO, get yourself some easy points here, and it's all built into the system. Again, it's pretty much a no-brainer for you to set this stuff up on the get-go. All right. I wish we had more data, but on a demo account, I don't leave a lot of feedback for myself. Unfortunately, I was looking like, oh, that's it too. Sorry.
Yeah, we deleted all the negative reviews, so it makes us look better, right? So
you guys gotta do that? I do that all the time.
So, but I think the power here is, again, what you'll see with CloudRadial over and over again is that we're making your data more transparent. We're putting that data in the portal for client visibility, again, every day. There's not you don't have to wait for the end of the quarter or the end of the year to show them how you're performing from a end user satisfaction standpoint. Again, this data is going to be there for them anytime they want. And again, if you want to turn this off, you can, or you want to turn off any feature, you can. But the goal is to make this more transparent and more automated. So again, you can really, in a way, sit back and relax. Again, instead of being stressed out about the QBR stuff, just know that CloudRadial is delivering those QBRs for you every day. And what's really been fascinating, again, we've found great traction among small MSPs and large MSPs. If you're a small MSP, or what you might call an emerging MSP, because nobody stays long and it seems to be in the space for very long, then what happens is basically this is going to help you scale, because again, as you get busy building or bringing on board a new client, this data is going to be servicing your clients every single day. So it's not like you're going to lose contact with them when you're busy with a big project. And for larger MSPs, it really becomes valuable because we're going to bring more consistency across the board. So again, it's less prep time. If you're trying to manage 50 clients, and one of those tasks 50 times is to print off the CSAT report, now you don't have to do that. So again, through automation and through scalability, whether you're an emerging MSP or a larger MSP, CloudRadial really helps you kind of up your game with your clients. Now, the last thing we're going to touch today on is the partner community, because as the product has become more complex, it's also becoming a little more of a challenge to kind of master all the details. And I'd like to say that at CloudRadial, we know the product better than anyone, but it's turning out that that's not always the case. We're learning from partners all the time about ways to make the product better, about the ways that they're taking the product and applying it in ways that we hadn't thought about. And we've seen a lot of that in the last few weeks. And so what we're really trying to do, even from bringing from bringing Ricky on board to really kind of step up the game from training and really make the product more accessible. We're also going back and trying to foster innovation among partners, and that's where we've rolled out the community as one critical part of that capability. Because again, when it comes to hooking up different products or applying the best practices, again, I don't think we have a monopoly on the information there, and so we've really have put a lot of effort into the community, and we'll continue to put a lot more resources into that in the upcoming months. Again, to make that a great place for you to interact with other partners using CloudRadial, or maybe not using CloudRadial, maybe just other partners interested in account management. So that's a completely open platform. So Rick, if you want to take them through the community real quick and just give them a quick intro on how to join maybe and how to post a topic or ask for help.
Yeah, for sure. I was saying before, it's like, you're absolutely right. Every time I'm like, I know the most, I do this like, 12 hours a day. And then every single time one of you guys tells me, I found this new thing, and I go, damn it, I still don't know it. It's wonderful, but so frustrating. You guys suck, but I love you so much. If you go to the community, right, I got another tab open up here. So what we're looking at is it's pretty simple in the sense that, like, what you can do here is kind of like what you see is what you get. So like what Jeff was saying, it's absolutely true. There's many things that we understand perfectly well about our product, and there's some things, when it starts getting off product integrations, ideas for upgrades, no one knows, especially we're fortunate, right? Software, we're talking to MSPs, we're talking to techies. Nobody knows the stuff better than you guys, and nobody knows the realism behind it better than you guys. So as an example, right, we're talking like in this thread right here, there's one about QuoteWorks and trying to get stuff, worked out better. Now, we may be experts in CloudRadial, but we're not experts in the best way to do stuff in QuoteWorks and how to, weave that in. So this is kind of what it's supposed to be fostering. There's stuff that's just saying like how we're getting it to work, getting other people that are even better than us to answer those questions. And the more we can get these kind of conversations going, ultimately, the stronger the product gets and the better it gets for you. So you have everything kind of answered for you. But aside from that, there's lots of other uses for the community in general. One of the things I mentioned, right? So as I was giving the dashboards example, a lot of times what happens is when you first start off with CloudRadial, you don't start with a blank tenant, right? It's the scariest thing in the world to see all these options and nothing in them and having the, imagining you have to go area by area filling it out. That's not the case. We do start you off with a wealth of sample content. However, it's sample content, right? Some people that might work fine for, some people want to spend some time tweaking it. Some people, they like this, they have a good idea for what it can do, but they don't want to. So even in that dashboards example I showed you in that partner content area, right, where you can choose all the stuff to go out to your clients, it's a lot of work, and it's kind of like a high risk, high reward. It's like you spend a lot of time, it'll come out really well if you do it. If you do it kind of bad, it'll come out bad, right? Junk in, junk out. The community kind of mitigates a lot of that stuff. So if we look at how, we'll jump back here, this is the area where you can control all the stuff and the feature sets on the left-hand side here. There's an area for sharing content, right? So if you're feeling particularly charitable, or if you just want to lurk and steal stuff, which is what I do, if you look over here, you've got all the breakdowns, right? If you want to add your own dashboard, someone came up with a great dashboard, they have everything built out for you. You click on an area, you click on a category. So here's some sample dashboards that we have. Boom, right? Here's a zip. Oh, we gotta go up. There's a zip file. You can take this community, take content from people, right? I wrote some cool articles on COVID updates. I got some cool dashboards. We encourage you to take, share, and all that stuff, because it's really going to help get the product better, the community stronger. And it's really easy. You just grab that up top, you go back in here and you just import. You click that, drop in the zip, and then boom, you've got the content in there. You've got all the stuff. All you have to do is tell CloudRadial what companies should see that. So it's really nice for fostering collaboration. It makes a lot easier to launch, because again, you're going to start with sample content, but if people have done stuff that they know works, it's proven, their clients like it, they've worked out the kinks, you don't have to start from scratch. We don't want you to. We want you to get up and running as fast as possible. That's not the end.
Ricky, show them how to export a package, because that's under, when you open a package,
Sure.
there's an export button there. It's really easy to share, and it's one of the things, if you can take 2 minutes and take some of your best ideas and share those in the communities, it really would be helpful. And we really want to call out and showcase partners that are innovators, and the community is a way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, because again, for those of you that are like, well, what the hell am I looking at here? It's actually not that bad, right? What we're looking at is it's broken down by sections, right? So you can see articles, company knowledge base. Functionally, all of these are folders with things inside them. In this case, these are articles, these are courses, all that kind of stuff. And these dictate what shows up on the left-hand side of these feature sets. So when I click on company knowledge base, that's where these folders come into. And more on that in all my YouTube videos, because I'm kind of a YouTube star, kind of, maybe. If you click on any one of these, right? So again, like in this About Us folder, I click on one of these folders, I see the articles inside it. In this case, it's just one. And I go, hey, this is great. I think my peeps of the community could really use this. Export, you get your zip. That's it. And then you pop it up in the community, right? You go in here, you add a post. In this case, not a new topic. We're going to go in here, right? We go to our articles. I go to add a new topic. Show that in my folder here. And let's see, where is it to upload? I go, let's throw in, ignore all my downloads, everyone. Don't go creeping on me. There's my About Us. There you go, upload it. Now you can share this with anyone else, right? Write more descriptions about why this is good stuff, what you've seen work for people, and vice versa. You just take it, and importing in is just as easy. Once you grab that, you download the folder, back out here in the overview screen, import, throw in that zip, and you get all that content. And again, that really is very nice, because we've got a lot of partners that work their asses off to make their portals really fantastic for their clients. And everyone does it different ways. I mean, that's kind of cool. This is like, it does have boundaries. It does have certain things you can and can't do, but it's ultimately like one big content sandbox. And we've got people that have been pioneering it forever, that have all this great stuff. So if you've got stuff that would really help out some of the new guys, and like Jeff said, we'd love to kind of point out our superstars, because we already have some. I'll give you a case in point. I mean, we're talking about content right now, so stuff that you can actually put in the portal for your clients, but even the logistics of how to use it, how to use certain integrations, what you've seen work. When we talk about the desktop agent, or the data gathering agent that powers a lot of the reporting to try to get them consistent, more on that in a separate session. But there's even the simple thing of like, well, how do I take this agent and how do I get it deployed, right? We've got partners that actually took time out of their day to write scripts for us, and we've put them up here. So when I go into, for example, the Datto script, right? I go Datto RMM, how do I get our stuff through Datto, right? Here's the script code, agent installation. And I go, hey, in this case, Michael from IT Networks threw this up here for us. He gave detailed instructions, so not every partner has their trail blazed. And it's not like we're trying to compete, right? We're not trying to update sales and beat each other and steal each other's competition. This is just generally a good community because it's so focused on account management. So there's a lot of reasons to share stuff and kind of go back and forth. And then ultimately, we have a lounge and stuff, because we just released this not that long ago. We're still building out. We've got a lot of positive feedback on here, but we want to make it so that the users that actually have a lot of experience here, they understand how the product works. They they have a lot of use cases in it. They've seen what works, what they could like better. We're planning on making this very, we're in here all the time, so very collaborative. So if you have ideas for feature requests, you can see this video right here. We're not at the point where we're just a bunch of suits. We're still very much people that want your ideas. So you take this, you tell us how you can make it better, you will be heard, right? This is the place to do it. This is the place where we will hear you, and we will try to implement as many of those ideas as are possible to make it better for everybody. As far as actually joining the community, Jeff, what is the easiest way to do that? Actually,
if you go to in fact, I can see we've already had like 7 people sign up here since you started. So, so basically, if you go to the community, you're going to request membership. So just sign in with your Office 365 account, or create an account with an email address. Either way, you'll get a acknowledgement that you submitted the request, and then usually it takes us somewhere between an hour and 12 hours to get that logged in. For Australia and New Zealand, when they tend to join in the middle of the night, we don't typically approve those until I've had coffee in the morning, or Ricky's had coffee, or somebody's had coffee. So, I think that kind of wraps up today's presentation. I know there's some questions waiting there. Yeah, no. So,
got some questions.
Oh boy,
so what do we got?
Believe it or not. We got a few here. All right. First, Nate Wallace asks, do mobile phone numbers in Office 365 sync to ConnectWise? If this is set up, he was going back to talking about the synchronization that we asked during that period of time. He's asking if mobile phone numbers can be synced back to ConnectWise using our synchronization.
The answer is yes. Mobile numbers, the business number and the mobile number should come over into ConnectWise.
Awesome. You want to show them how that might be done? Or?
There's not really much to show. The one thing that's interesting, and Ricky may just want to click on your name up there in the top right, because one of the things that was also in this release was fixed so that users can update their own details. More information's about that. But if you click on your pencil up there, you can update the information, Office, mobile, all of that will be synced back to, you can take out the lame. So, so all of that stuff will be synced back to Office 365 and the PSA. So awesome. This gives it, again, it's one place for users to update their information, and it affects the things that matter to them and to you the most.
So just awesome. Right. They just put in their mobile number, and this is what uploads back into the PSA.
Correct.
Also had Terry Olson ask concerning feedback. When you say post feedback to the ticket, can we send the rating back to Autotask as user-defined fields with the ticket?
Not today, no. But you can. Right now, it goes in as an internal note in Autotask, and in ConnectWise, it actually gets attached as a survey on that ticket. So the ConnectWise processing is a little better than the Autotask processing. But today, that information flows back in as an internal note into Autotask.
Cool. Now I know the answer to that question. The next question is, what is the best way to train our technical staff on how to interact with our clients on this platform? Is there a technician training section?
So today what we're doing is we have a fast track session. And so that's, it's a paid training session, but it's basically 4 1-hour sessions with Ricky to get you through that process and to train staff. Now, in about a month, we'll have an academy in place, which will take a lot of Ricky's knowledge and put that into self-paced learning lessons. And so that's the last piece that I think we really need to help round out this product. So today it's only available via one-on-one sessions. In about a month, that's going to be fully available on the academy. And then the other thing is, in 2 weeks, I think it's 2 weeks from today exactly, we've got another seminar on how to hold the perfect QBR. And I really encourage you to either attend that webinar or go back later to visit that recording, because at that point we're really going to talk about how the product comes together to present to a client. So again, we don't really believe in QBRs, at least the way they're done today, because they're very status oriented, and a lot of times they're very technical and not that interesting to the client. And so what we want to do in that next webinar is really focus on the QBR or that business review as a way to make money for clients, save money for clients, or reduce that client's risk. And those are topics that are always near and dear to a client's heart, and always topics that typically will get a good response back. And so in that webinar, we're going to go through in depth on how to go through that QBR process and really get it to a point where the client's looking forward to it.
All right. And by the way, we do have a few more minutes here, so if anybody does have a question to ask, don't forget to ask that using that question icon on the right-hand side. But we got a couple more. I'm sorry, Rick?
I do have a quick note. Back to that question about training. Right now, it's true that you have to talk to me. Sorry, to get that training. But on YouTube, if you check out our channel, I've actually taken the time to segment a lot of those. From starting off, and I'll show this real quick. From starting off from like basically nothing, right? I've never heard of the product all the way to I have something that can work. If someone's looking to get started without having to do the whole training session, I recommend doing this. So let me show in here. Nope. Hold on.
I don't think you're logged in, so you'll just have to search for it. Yeah.
That's fine. Actually, I'll log in because I want to get to the backend channel, because I want to show you guys how I've actually segmented this, because it can be extremely beneficial. So I'm going to log in as CloudRadial real quick.
And if you would, we need 15 more subscribers to get to the magic 100 number, which puts us in the elite league of YouTube.
Trying to get
so if you could take a minute today and just subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be awesome. It's
you go to
radials.io/YouTube,
right?
And help push us over 100 so we can start monetizing and living off our YouTube.
I need to make my like 3 pennies a month, guys. Please, I got to do an ad every 3 minutes like the other person. It's going to be
Well,
great.
we get a nice custom URL.
Yes.
That's the real pay.
Get us the QRL, guys. Come on. Anyways, you can see that our YouTube channel right now, if you look at it like this, it's very scary because I've got all the videos basically on how to do every single function, and they range from anywhere from like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Usually it's like 2-3 minutes per thing. If you look at our playlist, I've actually organized it. I'm not sure why YouTube does it 2, 1, 4, 3, but generally speaking, if you follow 1, 2, 3, 4, this should give you a pretty good idea. This is roughly what I cover in the fast track, but obviously in the fast track, I'm able to talk to you, train different people, walk you through different things, but this will teach you literally how to never heard of it all the way to I get what he's talking about. So this can be a good resource as well. Sorry, Seth. I had to look at my face everywhere. I have to rep my YouTube channel.
That's a very good point. There's a lot of resources in there.
We got 87. I feel like the telethon. So we're at 87 now. So we just need 34 people to go in.
30 more people.
For a channel. That'd be great.
All right. So yeah, Eric Long asks, can we get MSIs instead of EXEs for the app and the agents?
Maybe someday. The challenge is for us right now is that those installers are custom built, and the tool that we're using to build that only builds the EXEs. So we'll have to do that. We have to replace the build technology, which is something that is on our list, but to be honest, is not a this month type of thing. But I mean, we understand that. We'd like to be able to do it, but we just don't have it this month.
All right, cool. Dan B asked us to review some dashboards. I think we can hit that at the very end. Damian Stalls asked us, will changes in ConnectWise update CloudRadial, then update Office 365 for customers not wanting to use Azure AD Sync?
No, we're only going, we don't really update from the PSA up. So typically in the way we have it structured right now is Office 365 is the source of truth. And then that all feeds down from there. What we could potentially do is open that up as a feature down the road. And there's inside the dashboard for those of you that are in the product, we do a lot of stuff through the community, but we really have a very organized feature request system. And Ricky may want to just bring up that screen real quick too, under partner account.
Right.
And while he does that, we hit 100 subscribers. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thanks very much. Okay, so we're done today. So we got to go.
Who does that ask?
So what you're going to find is in that feature request that we've now have a lot of feature requests in there, but we'll get that in there and see what we can do. Because again, what we're looking for is the business case that makes this make sense. And then once we have that, then it usually gets in the plan stage.
Yeah. What we have going is basically like a Reddit for nerds kind of thing, where it's like an upvote system, which I really love. We live out of that thing. So when you get into your tenant, right, you go to partner, again, that capital drop down for your stuff, and you go to account. This is like your overview hub for your account. Most of the time, you don't spend too much time in here. This is just for the high level view. When you come in here, you're able to see stuff like how many companies and users and all that kind of good stuff. A lot of good details in here, but generally speaking, on the right-hand side is like the support panel. So you can see that if you want to access the feature request, right, actually throw your idea in the ring. If I click on that, it'll take you right to it, or roadmap.cloudradial. And then you're able to see, like, some people have ideas. This is what I was saying makes me very mad when people think of stuff and make me look like a fool, because they're like, we should have this. And I go, I know, damn it, that's a good idea. So you can see, like, SSOs, and we've got some charts clickable. There's different things that people upload, like Jeff's saying, depending on the feasibility, where that falls into our, we already have some kind of stuff that we have in the mix, but we do very much pay attention to this, because this product, all of it, I could say this kind of with certainty, was built kind of with a love of MSPs. Them telling us what they think is a good idea, and we just take that kind of like the lowest common denominator and boost that up, and that's how we keep getting all these features that seem like we're reading your minds while we're just talking to you. And this is usually how we do it, really.
Yeah, if you notice, one thing we're proud of is if you look at that ship number, it's 80 features that we've shipped that have been suggested and implemented. Now there's still hundreds more to go do, but again, I think we're really meticulously trying to get through this list. We just, like, dashboards were a top request. In fact, all the top requests that were there under the popular list a few months ago now have been addressed, and now there's a new list of popular features. What we find is as soon as we think we've kind of mastered an area, there's always some other area to go fix and make better. So now that we have dashboards, people will start, they'll either one of two things. Now, hopefully you will either tell us how to make those dashboards better, or you'll tell us other features that you want to see in the product that would help make it better for you too.
Cool. Let's see, we got a couple more questions here. Only got 5 minutes left. We were all worried we weren't going to fill the hour.
Ball machine or something. I don't know.
Rick and I like the sound of our own voices, so we're good.
It's awesome.
You like it? Pretty good. I'm trying to mirror my boss.
So Tara Lee Morgan asks about any future plans for communities for clients. She would like to allow certain clients to collaborate with each other.
Actually, a really good idea. I mean, it's one of those things that as we get into this, again, we're seeing different use cases. And, we talk about the internet capabilities of the product, which are really strong in the collaboration. But the next thing that comes from that is being able to collaborate internally. And so I think as we go back to beef up that internet capability, I mean, those are things that are all on the list of things that we'd like to address. And so again, how we address that, I mean, what I like is the spirit of that question and the spirit of that suggestion. And then again, because it's helping point a better use case for the product that not only helps with the client acceptance of the product, but also helps with that account stickiness, which I think is one of those cool features. Once this portal quits being the MSP's portal and starts being the client's portal because they have their own knowledge base articles or discussions in there, they're not leaving.
Mm-hmm. Right. Tony Hayes asks about any future plans for Android or iOS apps. We have been seeing a lot of techs use this in the field. Wasn't sort of necessarily an intended use of our product, but do you have any plans for that?
So not today. The product is super responsive, and so it'll work fine. It's designed for the end user level to be responsive down to the phone level. All the administration screens are designed to be responsive down to an iPad level, including the partner ones as well. So right now we're focused on that. We have not seen high usage rates among people that are using our product on the phone. And we also haven't seen high usage rates among other competitors, or I don't want to say competitors, but other people that offer a mobile app. We haven't seen high utilization of those apps for those partners. So so something would need to change as far as usage that would encourage us to go that direction.
Okay. Well, looks like we're coming up right on the hour here. I know Jeff and Ricky both have to run to something right after this, but thank you everybody for joining us. This is the first of many. We got another one coming up in 2 weeks. I already see a lot of signups coming in for that. If you want to learn how to give a better QBR using CloudRadial, definitely join us for that. But in the meantime, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe.
Yeah. We just hang on.